prepping. Says we are live. Welcome everybody to the Paranormal Lounge here in the Paranormal Warehouse. And it's great to be back. It's been
What's up, everybody?
And we got all of us. We got U.S. paranormal researchers. We got Racine paranormal investigators, and we got the awesome George with us tonight.
Where else am I gonna go? Come on, man. What else? You make it sound like, where's he been? Well, he was stuck in the toilet. We don't know if he's gonna show up. Come on now. Man.
Quarantined on the can.
It's been quarantined on the can. Thanks a lot, Ron. Out to millions of people, millions, and it's going to Mars tonight. It's going to Pluto.
Social distancing, man. Social distancing.
Oh, that's right. Man, it's always, you guys are great. Go ahead, Ronnie.
But I just want to also welcome our guest here tonight, Jeff Woolwine.
Absolutely.
And, it's awesome to have him here. This is our first one really going into UFOs. Our first show. So he's gonna break us in on what he knows and what his findings are and whatnot. And UFOs has always been a big deal for me and interesting. But he's got one heck of a background, and we're gonna go ahead and go into some of these things that he's encountered.
I'm jealous. He has his own spotlight. Look at this.
Yeah, check that out. Gosh. I said he has to be a DJ. He's not a DJ. I only have a spotlight. So that's just fantastic. And he also has his own show.
Okay.
When you're big time, when you have a spotlight,
right?
When you got a spotlight,
it's got him, brother.
This guy
is big time, man.
This is huge. This guy is gonna make you want. If you don't believe in UFOs, and I do, I totally believe in this. This is why I'm so I'm just so jacked up right now in a great way. But the fact is this guy knows everything you need to know about ET. He knows where he lives. He knows his phone number. He knows everything about ET.
Yeah,
I'm here. I'm a huge fan of ET, man. Huge.
I mean, I'm looking at your bio here, and I'm like really impressed. It says here you're one of the premier videographers, skywatchers, and UFO hunters in the United States. It says here he was the first person to prove that Hohokam Indians carved UFO sightings hundreds of years ago and on the mountains around the Valley of Phoenix, Arizona. He is also first to prove that in 2005 that not all UFOs are crafts, but in fact they are living beings in the sky. His UFOs research has captivated the UFO world and changed the way to understand UFOs through the rock art and his UFO sightings and investigations. Jeff has written a book on the subject and is available now on what the PHX lights really are, according to the Oh my gosh.
You got some complicated words there, buddy.
Oh boy, you're killing me here. Petroglyphs, is that right?
That's it.
All right, got it. And the lost history of the PHX, 15 plus years of research and hiking the mountains around the Valley of Phoenix, Arizona, and filming UFOs in the valley skies. He has possible explanations and theories of what UFOs are, and that included in his book. Jeff has been in a number of cable shows, radio shows, and has premiered in the pilot for the UFO Hunters, which is a fantastic show, by the way. Show than later. Sorry, I'm a little excited here. I'm sorry. As it is aired in the History Channel, and that at time for the UFO Hunter show, and his discovery was too much for the public to understand. Jeff has been watching UFOs 20 years and being in the research of UFO hunters. Let's see here. Oh my goodness. UFO hunters thought it was nothing more than the theory of the UFO world, but it has the work has evolved in the UFO researchers and continue to study the work, and they now have come to understand that his theories and possible facts throughout the years. Now today, other UFOs researchers are using his work and theories as possible answers for UFOs, and Jeff Woolwine was the first to bring this topic and prove it to the UFO community. Thanks, and have a wonderful day.
Mouthful.
Yay!
Take a deep breath,
You
Ronnie.
did
Go
it,
grab some
brother.
water, man. Wow.
I get excited. I get excited about these about some of this stuff, especially and I'm not discrediting ones that aren't been on TV or anything, but some of these ones that have been on TV, I sit there and watch, and I'm like, man, I just want I want an after show. I want like a continued part of what I just saw, and now it feels like we're getting that when we do these interviews, and it's just an honor to have you here with us.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for having me.
Where in the world did you start? What happened? How'd this happen?
Holy cow. Oh my goodness. So I was born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm a native. And ever since I was a kid, I've been seeing things in the sky. I've been seeing these orbs and these strange lights, things like that. I can remember playing catch football with my dad, and there'd be an orb in the sky, or this red light, I'd be going to my friend's house. Hey, did you guys see that red light in the sky last night? And this was like a little Native American boy, man. He was a good friend of mine. And he was telling me, yeah, my grandfather says those things live on the mountains over there. And he points to the west side of Phoenix, Arizona, toward the White Tank Mountains. And, not being a kid, it just kind of just goes over your head, blah, blah, blah. But growing up, you're seeing more and more and more of these things. And it just wasn't in Phoenix. Like I lived in New York. I lived in other places here in the United States. And it's just not Phoenix. It's everywhere. Everywhere I seem to go, there they were. So, after, 15, 20 years of this, man, you're just wondering what the hell is going on, man. And that's exactly what I want. I went on a quest. I wanted to find out for myself. Not just pick up a book or go see a movie, buy a movie ticket, and have somebody else explain to me what these things are. Man, I wanted to go out there and find out what exactly was going on for my own self,
Right.
And, so I think it really, when I was living in Phoenix, I was seeing things in the sky, but, in 2000, I moved to New York. And then in 2001, we had the 9/11 event.
Oh,
and I can remember, and I was seeing, UFOs in Phoenix, and then I went to New York, and I really started seeing them there. But during a no-fly zone, this was a no-fly zone after 9/11. I've always told my son, I was a single parent, I always told my son, look, there are strange things in the sky, man. If you ever see something, you come and run and tell me.
Yeah, right.
And so like a couple days after 9/11, during the no-fly zone, I'm living up there in upstate New York, about 150 miles away from New York City. And my son's out there playing, and he comes running to the window, Dad, a UFO, UFO. So I go run outside, and I look, and sure enough, man, it was like 4 silver spheres. And they were connected together, and they were going counterclockwise. And kind of like, the kids' jumping jacks, the jacks that you bounce the ball, pick up the jack.
Right.
Exactly like that. It looked exactly like that. Well, this thing went over our heads, and we're just like, just saying, and my son's friend is like, that's probably an airplane or something. And I'm like, dude, that is not an airplane, And, after that, I used to walk the kids to school every morning and take them home. I always brought it up. I told them, look, don't ever forget that. I said, I've been around for like 35 years and I've never seen anything like that before. That was something. You guys always remember what you've seen. There is something here. Well, seeing, things on television, on cable, the Phoenix Lights and this and that, I'm like, dude, what the hell am I doing in New York? It's time to go back home and go on a hunt and go on a quest. This is the time to go see what the hell these Phoenix Lights is, what is going on here in Phoenix, Arizona. Mm-hmm. So I packed up the bags, and in 2004, I came back to Phoenix. And I remember a guy videotaping lights. His name was Tom King on the east side of Phoenix, Arizona in Mesa. Now, he was catching these lights on a regular basis. And so I kind of knew that was the area to go. So in all this, in the meantime, I'm reading books, I'm reading, articles, I'm studying up on this stuff, and I have the time to do it. A lot of people, they don't have the research, the time to do this type of research. Well, I did, so this is what I decided to do. I ran into this, with an open mind. I grabbed all the facts that I could gather. I weighed out, what was fictional, what was hearsay, and what can be proven. And that's the way you really got to do this. If you're going to be a UFO investigator or any kind of investigator, you have to rule out what's real and what's fake. And, you just have to go with what's credible, not what somebody hearsays. There's a lot of hearsay out there, but what we can prove, what is credible. And so I'm studying up on this stuff. And, I saw this. I've always been a big fan of archaeology. I love archaeologists, and I've always studied up on archaeology. I can spot something, man-made a mile away, and which other people they just think it's just a pile of rocks. So I know that it's something there, So I'm into archaeology. I'm into petroglyphs and things like that. And I remember on Channel 8, the public access here in Phoenix, Arizona, there was a Native American shaman. Now, he worked for the Pueblo Indian Art Museum in downtown Phoenix, Arizona. And he was doing a tour on South Mountain. And he was explaining on how to understand these petroglyphs. And one person that was watching him, that was, with the tour, said, hey, this petroglyph, it looks like a guy, and he's looking up at something over his head. And Dave Morris, that's the guy, he quickly turned around and said, yes, that is part of the interpretations here, is that our ancestors possibly recorded things that they saw in the skies on the rocks. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute, dude. Hold the phone, man. That is it. We have strange lights in the sky. Now we have strange markings on the rocks out there. There's got to be a connection. So I've always held that. I held that in my mind. Dude, I got to call up this guy. I got to book a tour with this guy,
Mm-hmm.
And right around that time, News Channel 3, the helicopters picked up a string of lights, the original area where the 1997 Phoenix lights occurred at. We'll get into that here in a minute. They picked up a string of lights in 2004 on the west side.
Mm-hmm.
And so I barely caught that news report. Now was the time to go. This was the beginning of the summer of 2004. And I knew this was the time to go. Even though the news people, they caught the lights on the west side, I'm going to the east side because that's where Tom King originally started filming these lights at, was on the east side. So I moved to the east side. I moved to Mesa, Arizona. And I kind of figured I had a good clue on what direction to look. South Mountain was over here to the right, to the west, and the Superstitions was over here to the east. So I'm kind of looking right in the middle. I'm kind of looking south. And it didn't take me long. I'm up on a second-story building, the second-story apartment, and two orange amber lights appeared about a couple miles in front of us. And I'm like, whoa, I grabbed my camera. I started filming. This is my very first video of these lights. So I started filming these lights.
Hey, Jeff.
And
Jeff,
where were they? Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can you pull the mic
No.
away from your mouth just a little bit, because your mic is popping? It's chopping
How's
up.
that?
It's distorting. There you go. Go ahead.
Perfect.
Sorry.
Okay. That's all good. So, these lights are out there, and they're where are they moving? They're moving. They're going towards the mountain. They're going west. All right, and then they would disappear. And then two more would pop in, and they'd go in that same direction. Well, this just made me ecstatic. Me and my son, we filmed it, we saw it, it was great. So I went back out there. The next couple nights, we didn't see anything. But I wanted to get closer. So eventually, we ended up at Mesa Community College, and we climbed up on the bleachers up there. And this was, overlooking the whole city there. It was a place where, the football and track and the basketball, occurrence would happen at. So the bleachers were really high. So I climbed up there, and lo and behold, I could see the whole valley. I could see South Mountain. I could see all the mountains around the valley. I was above the trees. This was a spot where I was going to sit to watch. Well, that night, man, I grabbed my equipment, my tripod and my camera, and grabbed my son, and I took a friend of mine with us. We went up there. We went up there every night of 2004 in the summer of 2004. We climbed those bleachers. We set up our cameras, and lo and behold, those lights was right in front of us almost every night in 2004. We had the Phoenix Lights doing some spectacular events out there, some spectacular formations. We got lightning bolt formations. We got triangle formations. We got 4, 5, 6 lights in a row out there. Man, it was crazy, and it was real close. It was in the city, and I've got some of the best video of these lights ever.
Do you have a link or anything that I could click onto or anything? You have a link for that?
A lot of my stuff is on my website. Petroglyphsinthesky.net.
Okay.
I believe that's working now. And I have a YouTube channel, Jeff Woolwine, the Phoenix Lights, Petroglyphs in the Sky.
Okay.
If you search Petroglyphs in the Sky, you can find me all over the internet. Search my name. There's tons of videos out there, and I have hundreds of UFO videos. And so this was going on, for like a couple of weeks now. We're going out there, we're seeing some spectacular stuff, and I'm like, dude, is anybody else seeing these things? So I called up the news, and it took the news about a week or two, I guess, before someone finally got a hold of me. And they're asking me, are you still filming those lights? And I'm like, yeah, of course, And he's like, well, let's do a news story. So I ended up doing about 4 news stories that summer. I ended up doing a whole station, Channel 15, Channel 3, Channel 12, Channel 10. And, and through the whole summer, we're doing updates on these lights because I'm out there filming. Everybody's aware of this stuff,
Crazy.
And it catches a lot of attention. And so much so that I noticed that these little white airplane Cessnas, okay, these little white airplanes, right, would hang a few thousand feet up into the sky and circle right above this area where these lights were popping up at. And as soon as these lights would show up, these little white airplanes would zoom in after these lights. And as soon as these airplanes got within about a mile radius of these lights would disappear, and this airplane would come in and circle about 15 minutes in that area. Then he would go back up into the sky and wait for these lights, and lo and behold, these lights came right back in the same spot. It was like a cat and mouse game through the whole summer of 2004. It was like an intergalactic gas station for these Phoenix Lights at this major spot here. Now, after I made the news, I was filming a lot. I'm filming the lights. I'm filming these airplanes. Because at first I thought these airplanes were there to investigate them like I was doing. Clearly, somebody was watching these lights along with me. All right. Clearly, somebody was interested. Somebody was taking notice, and they had better advantage. They were in the sky, man. They were getting great shots of these lights. I soon realized that it wasn't, them just out there, checking out the lights. I soon realized that these airplanes was out there to try to get these lights out of the area. They knew these lights were here. They knew what they were doing, and they didn't want people to see them. They did not want people to know that these lights were here. So they would chase these lights out. And 9 times out of 10, it would work. These lights would pop in, airplanes would shoot them away. But sometimes the lights would stay there as the airplanes flew by, and the lights were like, dude, I'm not going anywhere, man. I'm staying here, right?
What are you going to say, George?
Hold on. Can I ask a question? Thank you, Ron.
Sure.
First and most, you have energy. I thought I had energy. You are on fire. And I just, you know what? I love everything about, and that's a compliment, man. And I just want to say thank you. I love the passion that you have we all have the passion for paranormal. I can just, my God, you have such passion for UFOs. My question to you is this: why is it that we? And I mean this is a very serious question because I'm intrigued by this. This is blowing me away. Why is it that we just see lights in the sky? What do you think your opinion is on this? Is why don't they just land and just like come down, land, and just? Why can't we meet them? I don't know if that sounds really weird, but it's always, you always see lights in the sky. We see lights in the sky. and I believe in UFOs, but why? What's holding them back for just landing and such? And we get to meet these things.
Well, how much time do we have on the show?
See, that's no,
Well,
but that's what. Go ahead, Ron.
We are the last show, so we technically can go as late as we want if we really
Right.
want to.
Okay, cool. Okay, well, I was gonna get to that. We're kind of jumping my story a little bit.
Oh, then I'm
We're
gonna.
go why
then
they're
I'll be
here, why
quiet.
the light, how come they hadn't landed on the White House lawn.
COVID.
We will get to that.
What?
Oh,
That's why I was wondering, how much time do we got, man? But yeah, okay. So, so these lights are hanging around this area, right? And and the airplanes are watching too. Well, after I make the news, lo and behold, what do I notice? These little white airplanes are circling my apartment complex now, and they're watching me and my son and my friend on our bicycles going down to the community college. They're watching us set up the mic, set up the tripods and the cameras. Matter of fact, we had some white airplanes come zooming in right next to us. We could see the pilot staring at us. Man, they knew what was going on, and now they're watching the UFOs, and now they're watching us too.
Oh my
And
goodness!
so this went on forever. It continues to this day, and so after 2004, at the end of the summer, the end result was that everybody is seeing flares. They're blaming these UFO sightings on flares in Tucson, 150 miles away. Now that's crazy. Anybody who's seen these lights knows that they're right here in the valley. They're here in Phoenix, Arizona. They're right there next to that mountain, man.
Yeah.
They're next to that mountain. They always showed up, and it's interesting too because I never saw them to the left again, because I first saw them when I was over here, and I followed them just like Moses following that pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. Man, I followed these lights to that spot, and they knew exactly where I was going to set up, and they sat there. They were showing me where to go to watch them. That's the only explanation I can come up with. And why this area? Well, it just so happens that these lights are hanging over a major power plant. This power plant is bored down into a fault line from that South Mountain was created from, was this major fault line. And this power plant is bored down into this fault line. And so when this power plant was turned on that summer of 2004, it was attracting these Phoenix lights, these entities, to that power plant. All right, we'll get into the reason why a little bit here, a little bit later. We'll get into that in a minute. And so I'm like, dude, there's a power plant out there. So they're saying it's flares. I'm like, dude, you're crazy. This is crazy. I was like, why don't I've been studying these things, and the sources was mountains. It was mountains. These things like mountains. Okay, well, these lights are hanging around South Mountain. Let's move to South Mountain. And so that's what I did in 2005. I got a perfect apartment overlooking South Mountain on the east side, about a mile away from South Mountain. And oh my God, it didn't take very long. Had my camera out that kitchen window, and I tell you what, I was there for over almost 3 years, 2.5 years, and I always had my camera out that kitchen window towards that rock, towards that mountain. And it didn't take very long for these things to appear in the sky and start to come down on the mountain and actually start to leave the mountain. And so this was intriguing for me, because let's go back to the 1997 Phoenix lights. Okay, I had missed that, but I was in the valley that night. I was out there partying with a bunch of friends of mine out there on the front lawn, in the flight path where these people are reporting something flying over Phoenix. I can honestly tell you, man, I didn't see anything fly over Phoenix. But what can we verify? Like I said at the beginning, what is hearsay and what can be verified? What can be verified are the videos that we have today. And these videos show lights on the west side of Phoenix, Arizona. Matter of fact, on the west side of South Mountain. Okay, they're not going over the city of Phoenix. They're not in a V-shaped craft. They're in an arc. It's an arc. okay, and they're actually coming from one mountain to the next mountain. They're coming from the Australia mountains. They're arcing over to South Mountain. Why? Because of the energy. And so, nothing. And back to Tom King. Tom King was one of the original people that filmed the Phoenix Lights 1997. He was right there on the west side that summer or that year, and he saw these lights right there. Why? Why did he get this sighting? Because he was out there this whole week before filming lights out there, so he was ready. There was a handful of skywatchers ready for something to happen in the Phoenix skies. So if anything was going to fly over Phoenix, Arizona, Tom King would have gotten it. All right, and the guy that was way the hell over there on the west side, he would have filmed something also.
I'm going to interject real quick, and I do apologize. I have a question
Fantastic.
for you. No, I have a question because I'm going to get lost, and I'm so excited about this because, like I said, the UFOs are intriguing. Once I stop doing paranormal, probably never, I'm going to skip over Bigfoot, and I'm going to go straight into UFOs. That's just what I'm going to do. But if you don't mind me just slowing you down for just a moment here, is my question to you, and maybe other listeners have this question. All of a sudden on social media or just on media alone, I'm starting to see a lot of people seeing a lot of UFOs lately. I mean, like literally like have some videos or pictures. Is there a reason why this is happening like lately in the last 3 to 6 months? I've been seeing just a lot of people filming UFOs. Is there something going on that we don't know about?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, tell me. You got to tell me this.
Look into that. We'll get into it.
No, you can't get into it. You got to, no, please, with respect. I need to know seriously, and I'm being honest with you, is let me know, because I love UFOs, but that's the one thing I'm scared of, because I've seen movies, and I'm not trying to be funny, but they come out with these radar guns, and they zap you, and you disappear, you're a pile of dirt, and I'm afraid, man. So I take I take paranormal very...
explaining.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Without explaining, just jumping to that topic, without you can't read the end of the book, dude. you can't understand the end of the book if you don't read the beginning. You don't read the middle. Okay, you gotta go with the if you read the end of the book, then nothing at the end of the book will make sense.
So you want me to sit here and we're on page 7. And there's another 3,000 pages, and you're not going to answer.
No.
You're not going to.
You're not going to kind of go past it.
And you're not going to answer why they're coming around right now, because I need to know if I'm packing my dog and my bags tonight.
It's like we're reading all the chapters, but only reading like the first sentence. Then we're going to the next chapter.
No, I'm the type of guy that
I love it.
I need pictures. And I don't read. I like reading. But if I don't see pictures, I put the book back on the shelf. I need pictures, because when I read stuff, it kind of goes in and then it just disappears. So you're not going to give me the answer that I really want to know about till page 3,000. And I'm just going to sit here and just listen then. Go. I apologize.
All right, cool. We'll get to it.
The mic is popping, though.
Those are the questions.
Your microphone is popping.
I will answer them, and it will make sense to you. Because if I tell you now, it won't make sense to you. If I tell you the reason why they're here, if I tell the reason why I think that they're not spaceships and little green men running around, you won't understand it. Okay, it won't make sense to you. I have to present my findings. I have to present my evidence to you.
Yes, sir.
And this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing to lead up to the final finale. Well, it all comes together.
Not too many people have got me to shut my mouth. You got me to shut my mouth. No,
it's true.
It is so true. So if you can, I'm gonna sit back. I have met my match. I'm gonna sit back in my rocking chair, and if you could seriously, and I'm being honest with you, is the microphone, I think, is too close to your.
It's popping really bad.
It's popping really bad.
How about now?
Let me go 1, 2, 3, 4.
It could be my chair. My chair's cracking.
No, it's
your
the mic.
No,
it's the mic.
Okay.
It's the mic. So maybe if you just and I'm going to shut up now.
No.
That's okay. That's okay,
That's how
But-
interviews
Yeah,
work. You're supposed to
Yeah,
talk.
but
That's fine.
that's all it is. Is I just want to know if I'm getting picked up tonight by some UFO, and I'm not joking. Look, I'm a joker because I
She's
find
hot.
in life. Yeah, if she's I seen some shows, but it's like no. But I believe in UFOs. I'm not taking anything away from UFOs. I'm a believer. I do believe that we're not the only ones in this universe. 100%. I just want to know when we get to page 3000 if I want to know is seriously lately on social media and you see people videos and they have these UFOs crashing in the water and they look like they're real videos. I mean, they're not like they're made up. I'm
Yeah.
thinking these UFOs are living in the bottom of the sea somewhere and they're down there. And I personally think UFOs, aliens, whatever, I do believe that they're already here. That's my true opinion. And I think that I personally think they're already here. I just want to know why the heck they don't just like, let's just meet and hang out and play softball and have a barbecue and see what happens. Because I don't know, man. I just find it to be intriguing. So I'm going to shut up.
All right,
Take
back to ET.
Go back to ET. Go.
Okay, ready?
Yes, sir.
Here we go.
Go.
Wait. Start the engine.
Okay.
Should we have bathroom breaks?
Okay, so back to the 1997 Phoenix Lights. So, you know how when you're in a grade school and your friend skins his knee, but by the time the story goes around the whole school, your friend's in the hospital and he's almost dying. Well, this is what I've come to find out on the testimony and the stories of what really happened in 1997, March 13th on the Phoenix Lights. There's no evidence. There's no proof. Of something going over Phoenix. It's been over 20 years. I've been looking for that photograph. I've been looking for that video. Okay, all I've been running into is people selling books, making money off this stuff, people selling movie tickets, this and that, but nobody really understanding, getting down to the truth, and no one actually saying,
No, you're okay. You're okay.
Video.
I'm just showing some of your video. That's all.
Oh yeah, and so with all that being said, here we go. Look at that thing. All right, so this is something that I filmed in 2005. All right, this is when I started watching these things during the day. Right, and I noticed this thing that comes down. A lot of these things came down out of the sky, and they actually, when you watch this thing, it actually goes into the mountain.
Jesus.
No.
Looks like
When
it's
I'm-
driving.
When I'm filming this thing, and I go out there and I'm looking, because I'm still thinking spaceships, right? I'm still thinking technology. I'm still thinking little gray guys running around from Apple Centauri. I'm thinking all this stuff. I'm thinking crafts. I'm thinking nuts and bolts technology, right? And so when this thing comes down on the mountain, you're thinking crop circles, dude. You're thinking you've got to find some kind of evidence, right? So I go out there the next day, and I know what I saw. The video camera saw it. I go out there, and what do I find? I found a big boulder with spirals and a stick-figure man looking up at the exact same thing that I filmed in the sky.
Whoa. You saw a figure. Say that one more time, slowly. You saw a figure of, what'd you say?
I saw a stick-figure man, looking up at the same thing that I videotaped.
No.
Right.
I'm
Right.
packing
And
my
see,
bags,
up until this point, it's just been a theory. Oh, we think the Native Americans, saw and recorded UFOs on rocks, but no one has actually proved it. This is the reason why I call my research and my work petroglyphs in the sky.
I love
this
it.
is what we're seeing in the sky. Are these petroglyphs? These petroglyphs that we see on the rocks are actually what the Native Americans saw and carved, because they didn't have video cameras back then. They had stone boulders to record their sightings on the areas on which it took place at. So this is the reason why we find petroglyphs on one side of the mountain, but we find no petroglyphs on the other side of the mountain. Because that side of the mountain, nothing happened at. The areas with the petroglyphs on them is the testimony, is the prehistoric photograph of what happened to that area.
How
So,
big is that
going
craft?
back to this-
How big is that craft right there that's showing
This
in the
is
video?
not a craft. This is not a craft. I'm getting to that. Okay, so
Oh,
I'm
man.
thinking spaceships. I'm thinking crafts. Okay, So,
Right.
and then I start to remember, oh, wait a minute. What about that guy that I saw on television last year doing a tour on South Mountain? Let's call him up. Let's call up this Native American and ask him to take me up on South Mountain and teach me the petroglyphs, teach me what the holocoms really are. So I called him up, didn't tell him who I really was, just tell him I was doing a documentary and if I could film him, and everything was cool. We spent about 3 hours up there on South Mountain, and he told me some wild, crazy stuff. He was talking about the spirals. He was talking about the giants. He was talking about the spirits, not spaceships. Not once did he ever say crafts. He was talking about spirals and spirits and living entities. Okay, and he was telling me that these spirals are doorways for these spirits. Okay, when you see a spiral going clockwise, it's a doorway in. When you see a spiral going counterclockwise, it's a doorway out. And sometimes when the spirals end down, then sometimes it could be next to that crack. Well, that crack in the stone is the doorway for the entities, for these spirits. Or if there's no crack, then it's the ground area. There's a vortex right there. If the spiral ends up, then there's an energy spot, there's a vortex in the sky. That's when these phoenix lights starts popping up in the sky, and then they pop, and then they magically disappear. There's a vortex, there's a door in the sky. That's what these spirals are representing. And so he taught me about, the lizard people and all these crazy things, right? And at the time, I'm thinking, dude, until I understood, until I started watching these things in the sky more, and then it finally dawned on me. Wait a minute. These things are not nuts and bolts technology. These things are not crafts. These things are alive, dude. Each light in the sky, you see 7 lights out there, man. You're looking at 7 living entities, 7 living creatures. Okay, and why the mountains? Why mountains? Why the source? Why the source of mountains? What is significant about these mountains? What makes South Mountain so special, so sacred? Well, let's go back to where these lights were hanging out at on the east side, and that power plant bored down into that fault line. Fault lines generate energy, and that's exactly what these lights and these entities are doing. Now, the Native Americans say these spirits are going into the underworld, but on a scientific basis, on a scientific level, a way of looking at it, these beings, these entities are going down into the fault lines, going down into the energy spots. And here comes the answer to your question. Now, a lot of people are asking me, why do spaceships have lights on them? Do they need to see in space on where they're going? No, that's crazy. These entities have lights. This is not spaceship. These entities have lights because look at the firefly. Let's use the firefly as an example. The firefly lights up, right? Well, so do these entities. These entities light up. That's just them. Especially when they're over energy sources where they're absorbing energy at. They're absorbing all that energy. They're glowing, man. They're sucking up that energy, dude. They're looking like plasma spears. Okay, that's why they're glowing. That's why they shine. It's not because they have a headlight on the top of their spaceship there. No, it's the entities. That's just them. Much like the firefly. The firefly lights up. These things light up also, especially when they're feeding off energy. That is the whole source of what the South Mountain is doing there. Also, it has a lot to do with the changings of the seasons. Okay, so there's a lot of spots around the earth, or a lot of sacred spots where, like for example, uh, um, uh, Stonehenge. You know how the sun will rise in the morning equinox between 2 stones. Well, the same thing is occurring all over the planet here on certain sacred sites. Okay, and the archaeologist wants you to believe, well, it's changing of the seasons. It's time to plant corn. That's bullshit. That has nothing to do with planting corn, dude. That has everything about these entities, about these spirits, about these gods in the sky. They are waiting for these gods to return because they follow the seasons. They follow the energy. when the sun is in the right position, it aligns with these fault lines, it aligns with these energy spots around the Earth, and it opens up a doorway. It causes a type of fusion
Preach,
effect,
brother.
and it attracts these entities to these energy spots. Fault lines, volcanoes, and man-made energy such as nuclear facilities.
Do
They
you
are
think?
drawn
Do you,
to
do you,
these entities.
do you think? And this is something that's just I wanted to ask you earlier. Do you think Area 51 is blown out of like? Do you think it's really? I mean, why is Area 51 such a? It's so popular, but do you really
He's
think
gonna go into
UFOs are at? Wait, what page is that on? No,
We can get
man.
into that now. Yeah, you know, government's got to have their secrets, man. We're constantly building, you know, military aircraft and things like that. So we need secret bases, dude. And just
Yeah, I
because
know, but
something's a
I'm just
secret
wondering
doesn't mean
if
there's a major cover up there. Doesn't mean that there's
no,
aliens there. Doesn't mean that there's UFOs there. Okay, I personally don't believe in that. All right, I just think that it's just hype. You know, when you look at Roswell, when you really look at the evidence of Roswell, I mean, you got people selling books and movie tickets and trying to get famous.
exactly.
But when you look at the footage, when you look at what happened there, the facts, you know, you come to find out there was actually a Russian spy satellite that dropped down, and they didn't want the Russians to know that this was a satellite that dropped down. But everybody was thinking that it was a UFO crash. So the conspiracy is, yeah, there's a conspiracy there. There's a cover up there. Everybody's thinking it's aliens, and the government's like, well, let's let everybody believe that it's aliens, when actually it was a secret satellite to spy on the Russians. So, you know, that's just my opinion. That's what the story. That's where the evidence leads to.
Ron, are there any questions? Has anybody? I don't want to make anybody mad out there. Is there any questions that somebody?
Let me
No,
check.
yeah, just in case. Slow down just a moment. Grab some water, grab some popcorn, everybody.
I haven't seen any.
I like to give a shout out though because let's see here. Somebody donated 50 hearts to us, or 50
Stars.
Stars? Is it stars? Yep. Yeah, stars.
What does that mean?
It's I'll have to explain later, but it's
okay.
It's a thing that they can pay.
Oh, okay. I don't know what that is. I apologize.
No, it's okay. It goes towards our show.
Patreon?
So yeah.
Awesome.
So
awesome.
Cool.
I just didn't want anybody to get upset. I know we're live. I didn't want anybody to get upset and see if anybody had.
No. If you guys want to ask anything, let us know. If you want to call in, let us know. I will post a phone number for you guys to call in if you like. But just
this gentleman is so knowledgeable. He knows that, and I know he just like, my God. But I do too. I just need to slow down because I'm already forgetting it 30 minutes ago. I'm like, okay, wait a second. I'm like, hold on a second. And it's like, this guy you're so knowledgeable, but I want to learn. I want to be able to go inside my mind and think about it for a moment, but I'm not having time to marinate with it because I'm going on to the page 99. So
there's 15 years of knowledge of research.
You're awesome. You're awesome, man. I was just like, I love it.
It's finding the facts.
No. It's nothing but respect. I love who you are, man. Like I said, I just want to know. Brother. No, you're awesome. I dig you. I only think about myself here. I want to know if aliens are going to get me. I want to know why there's spaceships out there. I want to know what the hell's going on because it seems like you have all the answers, but you're not willing to tell us until the very end.
Not yet.
And that sucks.
Not yet. Yeah. We'll
that
get to
sucks. Go ahead, man.
He's killing me.
So, there's no questions, but people are digging the show. So 41 viewers.
It's interesting. Right, this guy's amazing.
Let's get past this so we can start answering questions.
No, go ahead, buddy.
So
do you think?
So I'm out there. I'm doing these things. I was the first one, to match the petroglyphs with these UFOs, and especially with the Phoenix lights. Matter of fact, I found a petroglyph that that is carved to look just like the Phoenix lights. 1997 that happened. I found the exact same petroglyph. And after I made that discovery, and then these other discoveries, I started really catching the media attention. Then I started doing a lot of news reports and things like that, and that led on to the UFO Hunter show, or excuse me, UFO magazine. They wanted me to do an article, and from there, it was Pat Uskert that wanted to do uh, TV show called the UFO Hunter Show. So I did the pilot for that, along with the Ancient Aliens. I did the pilot for that, and then in 2007, that was in 2005. In 2007, I actually did the UFO Hunter Show on the History Channel, and a few other cable shows. And but back then, I'm trying to tell them, look, dude, these are not spaceships. These are not crafts. I guess being the first one to actually discover something new, because everybody else is saying, spaceships and green men and taking me up into the sky and doing probes on me and all this shit. People for the last 80 years, people have been buying into that, and I'm the first one to actually say, no, look, dude, this is something else. This is not what history is telling these things. I started going down this road here, but the evidence and the facts were not leading me there. It's taking me down this other road. All right. This is where the evidence is lying at, and they're telling me, dude, you are filming some bizarre stuff. This is in 2007. The public is not ready for this. He's like, if you're going to talk about these things, you need to say spaceships. You need to say crafts, because the people are not ready for it. And that really kind of pissed me off, dude. Because here I'm out there flying, I'm filming flying serpents, dude. Flying crosses, all right, flying worms, right? Quetzalcoatl type stuff, and I matched these things in the sky with the petroglyphs, right? History is telling me a different story. The evidence is telling me a different story. The evidence is not telling me outer space, not telling me outer space. The history, the evidence is leading me down the road of inner space. Inner space. They are not from another world. This has always been their world. This is their planet too. Just as man is higher than the animals, these things are higher than man. These things have always been here. This is like a type of animal. Just as the oceanographers are finding new species of life below the oceans, this is a new species of life above the ocean that the scientists and the people who are aware about these things fail to acknowledge and let the public know. But yet they're here. People are seeing them, but they think they see a light. They still don't understand that this is a living creature. This is a living entity. These are not spaceships. A lot of people are so convinced that they're crafts and little gray guys and they're here to help us, right? That is not what's going on here. Let's look at the history. Okay, so the first year I'm up there on South Mountain, I'm hiking the mountain, I'm studying the petroglyphs, I'm studying the stories here on the glyphs, I'm understanding the petroglyphs more, and I'm finding evidence not only of the Hohokam were here, the first Native Americans, but also the Mayans. The Mayans were here also, and I found Mayan art. And I'm going around on these other places on South Mountain, and I'm finding tombs. I'm finding structures. I'm finding giant walls. I'm finding petroglyphs of giants. I'm finding evidence of giant walls out there, things like that. So all this history that they want you to believe is wrong. Everything, all the evidence was pointing down another direction. Matter of fact, I actually did an interview with the city archaeologist here in Phoenix, Arizona, and he was blowing the smoke up people's ass. It just made me sick, dude, because here I have the evidence, here I have the facts, and I'm like, dude, what about the tombs? There's tombs out there. Clearly, if I can see this, then the archaeologist can see this, and he knows that there's something buried there. What is it, gold? What is it, a giant? What is it, a crystal skull? We're going to get into that in a minute. So I'm finding all this shit, all this stuff, right? And it's not leading up. I'm doing interviews, I'm doing TV shows, I'm doing cable shows. All I have is, my say. This is just all the pictures, all the evidence is just what I'm collecting here. I didn't really have any facts yet. I didn't have any proof yet until I went to the Phoenix Library in downtown Phoenix. And I went up to the Arizona room and I asked them, give me your folders on South Mountain. Give me everything you can find on South Mountain. They brought me over this folder, must have been 7 inches thick, opened it up. Lo and behold, there it is. All this information that I was discovering out there on South Mountain. The first park ranger of South Mountain Park in the 1930s is talking about the tombs. It's talking about the Mayans. It's talking about the gold. It's talking about who the Hohokam really is. And the Hohokam is a Pima name. Also, and they consider themselves ancestors to the Hohokam. Also, the tribe of the O'odham. The O'odham think that they're part of the Hohokam also. And their story is, because the Hohokams lived here for 1,000 years. They were masters of canal systems. And matter of fact, it wasn't all just a dried up desert the way it is now. This was a tropical-like landscape here in the Valley of the Sun. We can find evidence of the waterfalls and all this evidence of the water being a lot higher than what it is today. There is no water in it now, but there was water from the weathering of the rocks. And so all of a sudden they were there 1,000 years, and then all of a sudden they disappeared with no trace of them. Even when me and you move, we take our belongings with us. But yet the Hohokams did. They left everything behind, and boom, vanished, gone from history. Now this goes in. This also includes the other tribes around the world who were there 1,000 years, and then when they disappeared. It happened at the exact same time. Now, this story, the archaeologist wants you to believe, okay, well, the Hohokam simply migrated somewhere else. It got too hot, right? Well, if that's the case, where did they go? We can't find any proof on where they went. We find evidence that they were here, when they left all their pots and all their weapons and everything else here in the valley, but simply gone. Where did they go? Archaeologists say they migrated. But the oral tradition here and what really took place here tells a different story. And here's a story from what the Charles Holbrook, the first park ranger of South Mountain, gathered from the Native Americans who lived there at the time. Charles was there to protect the tombs. Charles was there to protect what South Mountain really is. And this is a story on South Mountain. When the Hohokams first arrived here in this valley, they didn't know how to live. They say that these entities from the earth and sky, these spirits from the earth and sky, came up out of the standard world and down from the heavens. And they grew their tails to look like everyone else. Some would call these entities lizard people. And these beings taught these Native Americans how to survive. In return, they worship these beings as gods. We can find evidence of altars and sacrifice was going on out there for a long time. Matter of fact, this mountain wasn't always named South Mountain. It was named Mount Sepoa, Mountain of Mercy. And all tribes from all across nations used to come to this mountain for worship and trade and to watch the Phoenix Lights, to watch these flying snakes in the sky, to watch these living entities, to watch their gods. And that's exactly what was going on here. Things were okay. The sacrificing was good. Man was pouring their sacrificing blood down the rocks in return for these entities. They didn't believe that the sun was a god, but they believed that he was a tyrant entity. And they didn't worship the sun, but they kind of worship these beings, these entities. And what are they doing? They are shape-shifting. Okay, they're coming down. They're looking like animals. They're looking like people. They're looking like snakes. They're looking like crazy-looking things, right? And so the Native Americans, they thought, wow, this is a miracle. These are our gods, dude. So for 1,000 years, they performed sacrifice, and the tradition was a handful of gold and a handful of corn, okay, for trade. And this is all documented in the Phoenix Library. Matter of fact, you can see these document papers on my website, petroglyphsinthesky.net. You can see all this information that I dug up out of the library. You can also see the tombs. There's a photograph of a tomb there that I photographed. It's also my book. We'll get into that later. But it goes on to say that for reasons unknown, the sacrificing had stopped. And when that did, it upsetted the gods. It upsetted the Phoenix Lights. It upsetted these creatures in the sky. And the land started to dry up. And the Native Americans, the people was yelling at their tribal leaders, saying, "Why have you stopped the sacrifice? The gods are mad at us. Look what they're doing. They have cursed us. They're drying up the land. Why did you stop the sacrifice?" And then all of a sudden, some say that the devil came from the east, swooped down, and took these people away. Now, this is the oral tradition. This is also what we find on the petroglyphs. This is what the story talks about on the petroglyphs on South Mountain and around the Valley of the Sun. When you look at the petroglyphs on these mountains, it's a type of scrolls. They're telling a story. It's not graffiti. It's telling a story on what happened in this valley. And they're telling us that, look, these Phoenix lights, these entities came down and took these people away into the sky, never to return. And there were people that were witness to this Holocaust, and they were afraid, and they hid in caves. And when it was all over with, they knew that it was wrong. They knew it was wrong to stop the sacrifice, and so the tribal leaders performed sacrifice on the sacrificing altar. And the people that survived knew that they wasn't going to live here anymore. They gathered the gold up, and the story says that the gold was as high as the tallest saguaro cactus, and as round and large as the sun. This was a lot of gold, and they buried it in tombs on South Mountain and the mountains around the Valley of the Sun. And they vowed never to come back into this valley, because they knew if they were going to continue to live in this valley, then eventually they would have to go back to war with these spirits of the earth and sky. So they never return, and they went back to Mexico. And so for 400 years, nobody lived in this desert. Nobody lived in this valley. They were tribal people. There were Native Americans living on the outskirts of the valley, on the outskirts of these mountains, and they saw the lights, and they saw these flying serpents, and they were afraid, and they vowed never to walk into that.
What's that, George?
Again.
Have you ever found it? Well, I forgot I was going to ask. Have you ever found, like, we go paranormal investigating, we find evidence, we'll find something, you know, have you ever found like evidence, like something on the ground, like when you see it's not a UFO, I guess now, but you go to a spot where you see these lights and stuff. Have you ever gotten up so close that you'll find something like a footprint, or have you ever found anything that was maybe left behind? Anything like that? Have you ever found anything like that?
Nothing like that. Because like I said, they're not like I don't know. They're not like man. They don't use spaceships. It's not technology.
So that's what I was trying to catch up on. Because you were saying about the entities and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, so they're not. Yeah. There is no spaceship.
And there's many videos. You can see them. They're solid, right? They're shape-shifting. Right. They're solid. They're changing colors. They're changing lights. When they come down on the mountain, then all of a sudden you can see through them. I understand now why the Native Americans call these things spirits, because you can see through them. And then all of a sudden they just absorb themselves into the rock. They're going into the fault lines. They're going into the rock.
See, that's what I'm trying to absorb. That's what I'm trying to. That's
what
I'm trying. I'm trying to take control. What I'm trying to do is understand what you're saying, though. See, this is why I'm intrigued. But I'm trying to grasp what you're saying when you say they're these little. Okay. I don't mean what they're called. These entities, these lights, and they go into the rock. And if the rock is, like, you lost me on the part where you say if the rock is cracked open or something like that. What did you mean by that?
Well, when the spirals are, the Native Americans have already documented everything that we need to know. Right? Yes, they told us where to watch, where to come and go from, and it's the spirals. The spirals is what you want to look for.
Okay.
And if the spiral is going clockwise, it's a doorway in. Okay. So if the spiral is ending in a crack or a hole of that rock, that is the doorway. That is the emergence point where they're coming and going from. If there's no crack, if there's no hole, then it's and the spiral is pointing down, then it's that ground. They just come up out of the ground, man.
That's what I'm trying to grasp what you're telling me, because I'm trying, and it's nothing.
That's cool.
Whole new type of information, a whole new type of quote unquote theory. You know, but this stuff is what's really going on, and this is the reason why the government isn't telling you about this, dude. You know,
I still want to know.
Never complain about this shit.
I just want to know what. Please answer my question. just please answer this question. Why are we seeing more? No, seriously. And because this is because I know I'm going to run out of time.
We're already at 10:04, so yeah.
Okay. My question is why are we seeing, or people say they're seeing, so much UFOs these days? I mean, literally in the last 6 months. Please just answer that question for me, please. I need to know. I need to know.
Now, the Native Americans in all the history of the world say that we're in the fourth world and we're getting ready to enter the fifth. Okay.
Oh.
So every time
is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Changes, mankind needs these entities to survive, and this is the reason why. Now look at the history that I just talked about. Okay,
yes.
look at what this fiery bird phoenix rose from the ashes of the former civilization from. It was from the giants. It was from the biblical days where these things were cast down out of earth, and these people here worship these fallen ones as gods. Like I said before, this is their planet. They have always been here.
Right.
Right. Okay. So when you look at all the evidence, when you look at some of these scrolls that has been written 3,000 to 7,000 years ago, and then we go over there and we look at the rocks, they match. You can't. That's the evidence. That's the proof here. We can read it in the scrolls, and we can see the prehistoric photographs of what the scrolls are talking about through the petroglyphs. And this says that every time mankind needs to survive, these beings are here in a way to mislead them. That's what happened the last 4 times. You know, and that's why all these occurrences has happened, you know, because mankind needs to survive. So especially during wartime, right? So look at World War II, you know, the airplanes were chasing away these Foo Fighters. You know, every time that mankind starts to war with each other, these beings know. They start getting ready, okay? Nobody knows, even these beings don't know the time and day when this so-called Holocaust will happen, when mankind will need these beings once again to survive. Nobody knows this.
What was that?
Cat.
It's my cat.
Okay. Don't do this.
You're good,
we're talking
George,
about.
good.
Don't be. No, we're talking about aliens, and I hear meow, and I'm thinking, oh crap, they're talking to us.
Mork and Mindy, you know.
Damn it, man.
No.
This is the biggest conspiracy of mankind. This is why the government won't tell you what these things are. They would rather let other people say, oh, they're here to cure cancer and blah, blah, blah. But actually what's going on is these beings are waiting for man to need them once again. And so let's say, you know, there's a big Holocaust. We have this huge nuclear war. Something goes on, okay? And so there's no food. There's no water. We have to see these lights in the sky, right? And one comes down and he shape shifts. That's what the Indians tell us. That's what the petroglyphs are saying. They're shape shifters, right? They're coming down. They shape into the likeness of a man, and he's got these magical powers. And he says, "Look what I can do for you. I can clean up the water. I can clean up the air. I can give you food. In return, worship me. I am your God." This is the reason why they're not coming down and landing on the White House lawn and want to have breakfast with us, because we don't need them. Okay, if the government, and they came down and says, here we are, it would be front page news for like maybe 5 days, and then everybody would have to go back to work, go back to school, go back to what they're doing, because, you know, they have their own lives, they have, you know, other necessities. And so we don't need them right now. So they're waiting. They're watchers. They're watching.
Now I can actually I have to
for mankind to need them once again.
I have to agree with you on that one in a way. I don't, you know, like I said, we do others. Now we're seeing all these lights. I think they're always there. I think they're like you said. I do believe they're watching us 100%. That's why you see all the lights in the sky. They're always watching us.
They're always.
Well, yeah. I mean, you look at. I was always taught when I was growing up from even my grandparents and whatnot. You know, always something in the sky is always angels or archangels, whatever. And there's always like some kind of bright white light always attached to them somehow, and you know, and who knows, they may have come down and shaped, like he said, like maybe shaped into a regular human form, and we just never had no idea that there was these
when you
angels
really
or archangels
look at
or something like that, and you just never know.
When you look at the history, the history says that these things have always been here, right? Especially these scrolls. that's been written 3,000 to 7,000 years ago. Sumerian scrolls, the Anunnaki, things like that. And what does those scrolls really say? The Anunnaki, some left and some stayed behind. They didn't say in a spaceship. Nowhere in that literature, in those scrolls, in those sacred texts, does anything say a spaceship. Man put that in there. They went in crafts. Man, that's you can't prove that. There's no evidence of spaceships here. There's no evidence of rocks. There's a lot of forgeries. There's a lot of people carving rocks, making it look like a spaceship, things like this, or little aliens with gray eyes and stuff like that. But there's no proof. There's no evidence of that. The evidence says that these things have always been here. They were cast down here. And also, look at Moses, all right? Not to throw the Bible at you. I mean, religion, let's kick religion out the door. Let's not look at the Bible with religion. Let's look at it as a history of the world. And when you do that, it tells us what these things are. It tells us what the future and the past tells us, all this stuff. And it says, look at Moses, right? Moses was led by a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night, right? And says that cloud came down and actually talked with him in a tent. And what happened to Moses? He was up there on a source, an energy spot mountain to talk to a light in the sky.
Hey, wait a second. That's what you said 3 hours ago. We're on to something, man.
Are we getting some answers? Are we finally getting some answers that people can understand?
Yes.
Yes. This
Thank
is
you.
all boils down to. Right. You can't go to the end without understanding the beginning.
Oh, see, now you got me. You got me now.
You can't answer the ending without understanding the beginning. That's
Right.
it. This is this whole 15 and a half years of research and proven documentation,
Right.
scrolled into 1 hour and a half, I mean, dude,
No, man.
this is
You're
it.
great.
This is what's really going on here. And this is the reason why the government will never tell you what's going on here.
Right.
Because, they are trying to dismiss the Bible. They're trying to kick out the Bible. They're just trying to say, it's just, but look at the biblical archaeology, dude. Look at all the stuff that has been verified already, that has been written, not only in the scrolls, but also in the Sumerian texts and other scrolls around the earth and things like that. Biblical archaeology has proven all this stuff. Like I said, kick religion out the door. Look at this stuff as a history of the world, and it tells you. It tells you. And who was it that led the people into the promised land? It wasn't Moses. It was that thing in the sky. It was a UFO in the sky. Actually, when you read the book of Numbers and Exodus, they're following a UFO in the sky for 40 years, dude. They're telling you. They are saying, hello, there is something there in the sky. And they'll tell you, look, when that UFO stops in the sky, then everybody's pitch camp. They didn't move for almost a year before that thing started moving in the sky. When that thing started moving in the sky, then they knew it was time to go. That's it, brother. That's it. These things have always been here.
Right. No, that's like, okay, so let's get back to my question that's going to let me get some sleep tonight or not, is now that do you know, and this is, look, we could joke about, I'm not joking about this. This stuff is very serious. And I have to say, I love your passion. I love that you have you know what you're talking about. But my thing is right now is do we have anything to worry about right now? I mean, we're dealing with, people joke about on social media. We've dealt with the virus. We've dealt with other stuff in this world. And now, I joked around last month and I said, what's next? We're going to be attacked by aliens in July. It didn't happen yet. But it seems to be just really crazy right now. And I hope what's that?
Here's the thing. We are not going to see it in our lifetime. Okay.
Don't tell me that.
I think right now we should be more afraid of man than these things in the sky, because
Absolutely.
These things are so powerful. They can come down anytime they want and take stuff, dude. So
Really?
they haven't.
So do you think?
Right, yeah.
Let me. Do you when you hear? I don't mean. Please do not get mad at me if I interject, because I got to get some words in. Do you know when you hear about people saying that they've been kidnapped or whatever the word may be? I apologize, by aliens. Abducted. What is it called?
Abducted.
Moist. Abducted. And
did you just say moist?
I did. You know what? I got to get that word in every so often, man.
Moist.
Moist. Do you find it? Do you think that's a true fact then, that people have actually been abducted? Or not?
I personally, I don't know. I'm not in their shoes. I don't know. All I can say is I go with what I can prove. I don't say anything that I can't prove, that I don't have verification on, so I don't have any proof of that.
Right.
But I do believe in craft. Sure, why not? I'm open to that. Matter of fact, I have seen some things in the sky that could resemble a craft. Okay, and the scientists have admitted that they found 7 Earth-type planets on the outskirts of our solar system, and let's say that there's some kind of advanced civilization there who has the capabilities to build a spaceship and come visit Earth. Sure, I'm open to that. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I want to see some proof. I want to see some evidence. I don't want to see I don't want to read a book about hearsay. I want to see some evidence. And so far, all this research, there hasn't been any evidence.
I saw a movie, and it was a movie, and it was a fact. And no, you know what I have seen though is when you talk about the script, like writing on rocks and stuff like that, where there are millions of years old. Something you said earlier, I've seen something that people took pictures of, and it was this tall figure, like the really tall, skinny figure that they drew. And there was just like this circle, and there's these beaming lights. You think that was like somebody else drew that in, or do you think that's like real old 2,000-year-old writing? Does that make sense?
Are you talking about rock carving or painting? Or
yes, rock. We'll go with rock carving. Yes, thank you.
Well, those rock carvings, like I said before, there's a lot of false ones out there.
That's what I'm afraid. Yeah.
Out there.
Yeah.
And I haven't found any evidence, of a spaceship. I see hoaxes of rocks. I see hoaxes of photographs. I see hoaxes of video that can be disproven,
Right.
And so I haven't found any evidence. There's no evidence of spaceships carved around the mountains. I haven't ran into any credible petroglyphs of spaceships.
Right.
There's like petroglyphs of weird-looking men up there, sure.
Right.
Some with 4 arms, and we can get into that story too if you're interested in the 4-arm people. I don't know, but there's evidence there. There was another race of beings that was here. The petroglyphs up here on the mountains talk about some kind of war that went on here between the good ones and the bad ones. That story coexists with the stories out there in India. When we look at the Viamati and things like that, yes, the same story is here. The same story from the Anunnaki is here on the mountains. Yes, we can verify all that stuff. Yes, it's all making sense to this direction. As far as spaceships coming from Mars and people being abducted, there's no proof of that. There's no evidence of that. That direction, I can't prove.
That's a good idea.
I can.
Jeff, now what about the whole reports of Chicago at the Chicago airport? Of a few years back, and actually recently, there's been accounts of UFOs actually hovering over the airport itself, and hundreds of people have seen this. What do you know about that?
Did anybody get any video?
There was some video, wasn't there? I thought there was.
I saw some
I'd love
video
to
on
see
that.
But like I said, they might have seen something, but because of Hollywood and because they haven't, they just don't know yet, and it's not their fault, because people, selling them wrong information of spaceships and green guys, it's not their fault that they see a light in the sky and they think it's a spaceship. It's not their fault. I said, I went into this thinking spaceships. I went into this thinking little green guys. I'm totally opposite now, dude. I'm like, wait a minute. I've seen them up close now. I understand them. I have verification. I have proof of what these things are. And it's not leading me down the spaceship path. It's leading me down another another way of thinking about what these things are.
Well, you said
whole...
something earlier. I'm more afraid of the, like you just said about 10 minutes ago, is I'm more afraid of the living, or I'm sorry, that's
I'm more afraid of the living than the dead.
Exactly. Well, yeah, but
Right.
I'm more afraid. You know, I'm afraid of man than, let's say, I've never met an alien, but I mean, it's the fact that I'm more afraid of man, because man just seems to be so destructive. You know, I feel if the aliens were wanted to come down and get us, they would have done it already. If they wanted to destroy us, they've already done it already.
And you also too, right. you also have the Pentagon video that was declassified recently too. Yeah. That's long ago, a few months back, or actually it was longer than 3 months ago. But you know, that has footage of some type of UFO, and then you also have the junk, UFO junk, whatever it is. It's lingering in space. So we talked about that. 2 weeks ago, I think, or no, last week. Last week. So those are different things too. What are your views on any of that stuff?
Well, I'd have to look at the video. I'd have to look at the evidence. Like I said before, it's possible, you know, that another advanced civilization has dumped some garbage out there in space, you know, and things like that. Sure, I'm open to that. But I just haven't found any proof of that. I don't go on hearsay. I don't go on you know, Photoshop photos and CGI videos and things like that. You know, I'm very experienced in this. I can spot a CGI anywhere. My wife is always coming up to me and asking me about stuff, and I tell you, fake, not fake, this is real, that's not real. And 95% of the UFO footage out there is fake. And you have to look at what the people, have in, what's their goal, what is the reason for faking this video. And it has a lot to do with money, especially on YouTube. All right, especially on some of these paid websites. Every time you click on this so-called UFO video from YouTube, and it's got a lot of hits, that person is getting paid. He's getting paid for your gullible.
You're right.
He's using your gullible to get paid. He wants he wants that hit.
When I saw
he wants you to buy that book. He wants you to buy this movie ticket. He wants you to believe that he was abducted by little gray guys and he was dropped off 3 days later in a forest. He wants to believe that because why? He has a money agenda for himself. He's making money off of you.
You're right. You're right. Well, go ahead, Ron.
And also, you know, just to make things clear, I have not made any money from my UFO sightings, from my UFO book that I wrote. I told the publishers to give my proceeds to the foster kids in Phoenix. It's not about money. It's not about fame. It's about getting this information out. And I have all the history, all the documentation, all the facts here. And just don't believe me, dude. That's not what I'm all about. I'm bringing this information to you. Now, you need to go out there and investigate what I've been telling you. That's it.
That's awesome. Well, I do love your passion. I mean, that's what's so great. That's okay. If I had to take anything away from this night, first is when you get off here and we're done tonight, please don't go to your wife and say, "Oh, these guys are in trouble, man. These guys don't know anything about UFOs. They're gonna, you know."
Not.
But I will say, it doesn't matter if it's bowling, I don't care if it's paranormal or whatever it may be. What I love about this interview tonight and with you is I love that you found something that you love so much and you have so much passion for. It makes me happy that you are happy. If that makes any sense at all, I hope.
Yeah, that's cool. You know, and I appreciate that. Thanks, man. But like I said before, you know, when I was doing the history show in 2007, this was all new to people. People were not ready for this. Now, like 10 years later, they're now just emailing me with photographs and videos of flying serpents and stuff they're filming here in the United States. And they're saying, dude, you filmed the exact same thing. All right. So my work is slowly but surely catching up. And there's a lot of people out there in this field that steal other people's work. And my information has been portrayed on the Ancient Aliens TV series and a lot of other cable TV series. And they want you to believe that they're the ones that came up with this theory. And that's wrong. I was the first one to bring this information to the public. You can verify all this on the website. You can see the stuff I started doing in 2005 when I was saying, look, not spaceships. These are living entities, living creatures.
I think one problem in the paranormal community, we have to, UFO is under paranormal. I mean, it is. And I think one thing we have to know also is that there's a conflict between people when it comes to information. It's like one doesn't believe the other. I've noticed a lot. And that's an unfortunate part, and that's where it makes it very difficult to go forward and investigate more, because you always have the other person denying it or whatnot, instead of putting it all together and see what we come up with.
Absolutely. When I was bringing this evidence out, and I'm saying, look, these scrolls are talking about what we're seeing.
Yeah.
Okay. That picture of a spaceship and a little green guy, that's not credible. These scrolls have been written over 1,000 years ago, and what's on the rocks tells a different story. Okay.
Yeah, right.
And so what if it's in the Bible, dude? So what, dude? So what if it's in these other scrolls out there that has been disregarded and is not talked about anymore? But that's where the evidence lies at. That's where the proof lies at. And when I brought this to the UFO community, they shot me down, they blackballed me, they wanted me to shut up. But I know I was right, and I'm still here today. It's been over 20 years. I'm still here. I'm still talking about the same damn thing that I discovered in 2005. Nothing has changed. The only thing that's really changed is more evidence. More evidence is coming forth. That's it, brother.
Good job, bro. Love it, man. Love it.
I'm just looking to see some of the footage for UFO, for the O'Hare thing. But it's interesting, and we're in a bad time now, especially with drones and everything else. And there was one that was released not so long ago with fireworks. That were shooting fireworks out of the drone, and then it would disappear, and whatever.
Yeah.
Right. And there's a lot of people out there saying, oh, dude, that was a drone you filmed back in 2005. Oh, excuse me. Do your history here. Do your homework. When was drones available to the public? Hello.
2009. Damn.
7 and 9 or whatever.
Yeah.
But actually, I found evidence that Walmart was selling them in 2007. 2005, Walmart was not selling drones. 2006 was not selling drones. The drones came into the public airways between 2007 and, you're right, 2009.
Yep. Preach it, brother. Just keep preaching, baby.
That's it, brother.
Fight the good fight.
I love it. Good people, man. Nah, man.
And it's
good
cool
stuff.
Too, because I have all this evidence backing me up. This is what gets me so pumped, because I have all this proof. I have the first park ranger on my side from the 1930s. I have history on my side. I have the petroglyphs on my side. I have the Native Americans who know really what the hell's going on here on my side. I have all this evidence, and that's what drives me to push this stuff out, because you know what? This information hasn't been told, especially the true history of Phoenix, Arizona in the last 80 years. Charles Holbrook, he passed out flyers. He talked about the Mayans. He talked about the spirits of the earth and the sky. He talked about the gold being buried in the mountains of Phoenix, Arizona. He was there to protect these tombs. And when he died, all this information was tucked away in that folder, and has been in that folder for the last 80 years. The archaeologist doesn't want you to know this. They want you to stay on the trails. They don't want you to look into this. But I uncovered all this proof, and it's been sitting there in the library this whole time. This explains what the Phoenix Lights is. It's about true history of Phoenix, Arizona, and that's it. Not only did I crack the ice on the Phoenix Lights, but I broke the ice on the true history of Phoenix, Arizona. That is it. What we went into tonight, that is the real history of Phoenix, Arizona. The fiery bird up from the ashes of a former civilization. And there were giants here. We didn't even get to that. Really, there's a mountain out here on the east side. People know it by the Superstition Mountains, because of this lost Dutchman's gold mine that's buried out there. But you know what? This story goes much deeper than that gold, than that lost Dutchman. This story goes back to the biblical days and the giants. There were giants here in the Valley of the sun. There's carvings of giants. There's evidence of big boulders being stacked up by giants. And this evidence here, and it tells us that when the flood was coming to wipe out the evil earth, the lead giant told his people to run up on this rock over here on the east side. When the giants did, the lead giant used his power to raise this rock up, but the water kept coming. He raised this rock up, but the water kept coming. He raised this rock up so high in the size of a mountain now, but the water kept coming. And the last bit of strength, he because he didn't want his people to drown, he immortalized them by turning them all to stone. And that's when the water stopped. And now to this day, you can look up there on the Superstition Mountains and you can see the water line where the flood was stopped. And you can see the giants up there still turned to stone. I can see the lead giant on the left side of Superstition Mountain as he's praying to stop this water and don't let his people drown.
You can see the giant in the stone?
Yeah. There's giants up there. There's pillars, and the Native Americans called them giants. Those were the giants that were turned to stone. Camelback Mountain. There's like a skull rock up there. In my book, on my website, on the internet, you can type in Skull Rock, Camelback Mountain, and you can see me standing on top of Skull Rock. And up there on the left, you can see a giant. A giant. He was turned to stone.
Huh.
That's crazy.
That is so interesting.
Kara, can you please put the dogs out?
Oh, wow. Yeah, you can see right into the... Wow. That's crazy.
You found a picture?
Yeah, I think I found a couple things here. Hold on. Let me go ahead and bring this in for my peeps.
Yeah, I've been there.
There goes my damn battery. God dang
it.
Okay, none
That's
of these
cool.
is Camelback.
Oh, not?
You want to look for Camelback Mountain.
Oh my goodness. Camelback?
Yeah, Camelback Mountain in Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay, I put Skull Rock Mountain.
Well, you might be. I don't know if you'll find it that way, but you know,
Camelback.
if you search Camelback Mountain, I'm sure you'll find a picture of me standing on top of Skull Rock somewhere. Okay, here we go. That's looking familiar there. Yeah, I would just type in Camelback Mountain.
What's your name? All right, Camelback Mountain, and then.
Yeah, Phoenix.
It's pretty.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm trying to find you here. Oh, let me.
Yeah, keep scrolling. It's probably down a ways. Okay, wait, stop. Stop. Go back. Keep going. Okay, stop. Okay, stop. On my end, there's a skull with a flag on top of it. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay, now look above them. Do you see that picture of the giant?
Monk canvas.
You see that picture?
This one right here? Monk canvas?
Yeah, that's it, brother. That is Camelback Mountain. That is the giant that was turned to stone. That's one of them.
Wait. Brighten that up, or can you enlarge that, Ron?
Well, it was a canvas print.
Oh, yeah.
Well, actually, here,
that's
let
one
me.
Of the giant that was turned to stone.
Okay. All right. Let me move this. Move that there.
You can see his head, and he's scrunched down. You can see his body there.
Oh yeah, I can see.
Yeah. Yep. That's one of the giants that were turned to stone.
Wow.
What a trip.
That's very
let's
interesting.
hope we can find the skull rock. That's right in front of him on the ground. It's a big formation of a skull.
Let me see here.
Yeah, keep going. We might get lucky and run into it.
Yeah, there's only 4,000 pictures.
I know, right?
You say it's on your website though?
It might be. Let me look real quick.
Cause I'll just go to your website.
Yeah, yeah. Let me look real quick.
I think we're going off topic on this part because it's not coming up. No, the picture wise for Google, it starts fading away off the other stuff.
Yeah.
It's called back mount.
Something we can look at later on then.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
But it's very interesting though.
Okay, so you want to go to my website, go to the UFO sightings.
Okay, what's your website?
Go Petroglyphsinthesky.net.
Oh my gosh. How do you spell that?
P-E-T.
Is that me or you?
Go.
P-E-T, not P-R-E.
Oh, P-E-T.
R-O.
R-O.
Can you guys hear that music?
L-Y.
L-Y.
There you go.
Petroglyph. Okay, gotcha. Okay. That's .net, right?
Petroglyphs.
.net?
I think it's in the sky dot.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Petroglyphs in the sky. .net, yeah. Is there some way I can text this over to you guys?
What's
the chat?
Yeah, you can send to me in that chat.
Okay.
Phoenix Lights. Here we go.
All right,
gotcha.
Okay, cool. So there's the events right there. See the Phoenix Lights petroglyphs there, right on the front page.
Yeah.
That's the petroglyphs, and then there's the lights right there. That's the lights that I filmed. And then here's the petroglyphs here. Scroll down, and here you can see a flying serpent man up there. Here we can see on the left side, we can see, so that circle. You see that circle? Hold on, don't move for a minute. You see that circle? See that big looking man?
Yes.
You see that circle right there? That is the orb that we are seeing in space today. And he's morphing. He's changing into what looks like a man. And if you look down to the bottom right, you can see a man looking up at this huge thing in the sky. And that belly, that circle belly, is the Phoenix Lights, is the orb. And he's changing into a type of lizard man. Here on the right side of that picture, you can see a light, and it's got this looking arm, or this beam, or not beam, but this line coming down and picking that man up by his head.
Wow, that's crazy.
Right.
Well, do you want to get his information? Do you want to get Ron? Do you want to give out his information so then other people can?
Oh yeah, definitely.
We're over that 90-minute mark. That's why I don't get in trouble.
Yeah, we can go over if we need to, but let's see here.
If you wanted to see the Skull Rock, it's on the UFO sightings. Go on the UFO sightings, and you can see that Skull Rock.
Okay, UFO sightings. UFOsightings.com.
Yeah, I'm on the website. Yeah, on my website. No, on my website.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Hold on.
Website, okay.
All right. Hold on here. See this part always. I'm trying to get to. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Holy links.
UFO sightings. It's in yellow to the left. Yeah, UFO.
Oh my God! Music. How do I turn this?
I am falling when you join me.
About to draw me a flower.
Wow. Oh my God, dude.
Boy.
My battery is going dead, man.
Oh wow, so there's a skull.
That just happened.
Wow.
Oh boy! Wow, that's cool, man. Oh wow, this is interesting.
Oh, I love talking with you guys. Please have me back.
Heck yeah, we can
Dude,
definitely.
you got so much energy. I'm dissected. You took my energy.
Oh my lord!
No, good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Thank you.
That was fun.
Well, we're still alive, guys. You know.
I know.
Wait, I'm having problems here. Hold on. Okay, still there?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, all right. I had to switch things over because of the link. All right, cool. All right, well, thank you so much, Jeff, for coming out with us, man.
Yes, thank you.
There are a couple things. I mean, I would really like to.
Always a pleasure talking to you guys. It was great.
I really like to
you're
take
awesome.
a couple of your topics that you've had within what you're telling us, and use those as actual topics for for a show. So in the near future, because I'd really like to talk about the Giants stuff. That's very interesting, and some of the other topics. And any of the viewers that are watching, if there's anything that you would like to have him dissect more into, we can definitely do that. So, all right, the rest of the team stay on,
Yeah,
and
that sounds great.
we're gonna hold on. I'm gonna thank everybody for coming out. Coming out.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Everybody for watching, and see you next week.